basically I made a thing that has just made me $181,000.
Hey guys, this is Scott from SamCart, and we are here live with Cara Stein. Cara, thank you so much for joining us today, and we are basically just going to talk with Cara about her experience with SamCart. So, Cara, thanks for joining us. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, to give the short version, Cara, you joined SamCart a little bit over a year ago, and why don't you just tell people kind of what has happened in that first year?
Well, I'll tell you, I've actually been trying for years to have a business where I make money without having to work all the time and trade time for money.
Wouldn't that be great to make money without working? Wouldn't that be great?
Right?
Why can't that just happen? Why
well,
can't
that's actually my reality now. I mean, it's not 100% my reality, but it's very, very close. I released a $27 ebook just a couple weeks over a year ago now. And it also has a $47 upgrade that some people take. Maybe 40% of the people take that. And I make more money with that than I was making when I was doing client work. When I was working really, really hard and dealing with stuff and all of their whoa, change this and do that and everything. I made about half of what I've made in a year. Well, I forget. I think it was the first 4 months. I made the equivalent in sales of my whole previous year's revenue. And so it was just this is amazing.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm still perpetually marveling at it because this is real. It's real. I'm just what, is that can that even be yes, it can. It is.
Well, that's super friggin' exciting. Obviously, we love hearing about that. You had mentioned that you had done $165,000 in revenue in the first year just selling that ebook with some order bumps and things like that in place. Was that right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I meant to look before I got on this call and see exactly how much it was today, but I know.
Down to the cents. Yeah.
I can't not look. Let me just look real quick.
Oh, we got to do it. Yeah, go for it. Yeah. In the meantime, we'll just give you a quick background. Cara joined our one-page masterclass. And so basically that whole course is designed to help people who either, if you're already selling something, great. If you haven't, to kind of talk about how to go and create something digital, something quick to get up and selling, and then basically to use SamCart to sell it on one single page. And that is exactly what Cara did. She took that to heart and started running with it. And Cara, am I right in saying that what you're currently selling and doing now did not exist before you came to SamCart a year ago? I mean, as in before you showed up with SamCart, it wasn't like you had sales going on. You came, you started, you created that single page, that sales page, and then everything kind of took off from there. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I had tried to sell stuff before with really no success.
Awesome.
So we got the number. It's $181,697.50.
And 50 cents. Awesome. Well, we got to give up for that 50 cents, but that is fantastic. Cara, congrats on all the hard work. That is super, super exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah. One thing that I kind of love as we tell the story and kind of just explain to people who might be watching this later about, what kind of changed and some of that. What do you think was the biggest difference between pre-SamCart and post-SamCart, right? You came to us, certainly something clicked, something happened. The way that you're doing things changed, whatever it was. But what do you think one of the biggest differences was for you kind of before and after that has now led to what you're doing now?
I feel really I was 9/10 of the way there in a whole bunch of different areas. And just going through the one-page masterclass was oh, this is not quite right in this way. It's almost, but just not quite there. And so I changed a little bit there. And then the idea that you can, I had been thinking of advertising as an expense. People are always oh, what's your advertising budget? And I was you think of it as an expense if you look at it that way. But the perspective that I got from the one-page funnel class was hey, you can put in, a very small amount of advertising at the beginning, make some sales from it, take that money, reinvest it. You don't have to start with several $1,000s of advertising budget in order to kick this off. You can start with 100 or 200 or something and then have it pay for itself as it goes on. That was probably the biggest click that needed to happen in my mind. It was oh, advertising is good and you don't need a giant bucket of money to start doing it. So I started running some ads, and my first ads totally bombed. I spent $253 to make $27 in sales or something like that. But then I made some new ads and I put those out, and some of those actually worked. And so I started making like 1.5 times return on ad spend. So it's like, okay, I send you $100, Facebook, you send me 150. I'll send you 150 tomorrow. You
Pretty good transaction. Yeah, I think so.
The math gets a little yucky after that, but it's all beautiful.
Right. Yeah. And would you say that there's any of that magic wrapped up in kind of that single page aspect of what SamCart does?
Definitely. Yeah, that helped it all crystallize for me. Like my offers in the past were all kind of like, here's the thing, it's really big, it does a lot of stuff, and like having it all have to fit on one page is like you have to pick a very clear outcome that people actually want. And so that was a big change for me. And just making it the simplest, smallest thing, that instead of trying to make a whole elaborate thing. And like, I'll tell you, like I've listened to a lot of marketing gurus and what have you, and they mostly say like, you can't do it this way. You can't send cold traffic and expect people to buy stuff. You can't make a living off a $27 ebook. Like, this is the thing that everybody says you can't do, and I'm fucking doing it, man. And I'm so fucking happy about it. Like, this is the best thing ever. And like, I think that honestly, the shift from it has to be this whole thing where you make an email sequence and you do, you can spend weeks, and you can spend weeks and weeks, just hours and hours and hours putting together all this stuff. And then maybe it works and maybe it doesn't. Like in my experience, mostly it didn't.
Right.
And so then you've just wasted 2 months building a thing that made you very little money. Now what do you do?
Sure.
That's actually why I started working with clients, because I was just like, well, apparently I can't sell anything, so I need to like have people pay me to do something.
Right.
So for like 6 years or so, all of my money came from client work, because at least people were paying me to build stuff instead of building a whole elaborate launch structure and then getting $0.
Getting bupkis from it, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So you started with your one sales page on SamCart, right? You're running ads to it. It wasn't necessarily working for you, right? But then that moment clicked. All of a sudden, now you're getting return on ad spend 1.5 to 1. Like that kind of stuff is very exciting. Obviously, super, super exciting. How much of the success there would you attribute to like SamCart helping you make every order more valuable? Like you mentioned, of course, like you have your $47 order bump, there are other features kind of in SamCart help to make that happen. How critical has that been? How big of a piece has that been for you of that kind of like that, the big number in sales that you've made in the past year?
The order bump has been a very big deal. I don't think I would have thought of doing that myself. And SamCart makes it really easy. You just put your little picture and your little words, and then people can click the little check mark or not. It's very smooth and very sweet.
Yeah.
And like the nice thing about that is you can start with a tiny price point, and then, some people just want to spend $27 and that's cool. And some people are willing to spend more. And so that can be a $74 order, or I have some upsells. Honestly, I have not gotten that working for me yet.
There's a big opportunity for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried a few and they've all just kind of missed the mark somehow. So I'm still working on that. Like that's a really great feature that I just haven't quite cracked the nut on yet.
Right. Well, certainly I'm sure we got some stuff that can help you with that, but that's going to be maybe even a bigger ceiling that you haven't even hit just yet, which is super exciting. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I really would love to, instead of having $74 orders, have, several $100 orders. That would be very nice.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, super exciting. I would you say that you think that your approach now is simpler? A lot of people come to us and they think like, well, it can't be this simple, this one page, this, like all the hybrid design and things like that of course, people are taught about page after page and webinars and leads and, you're doing all this like crazy kind of stuff. What would you say to someone who's thinking, is it really that simple?
It really is that simple. And it's like utopia. It's like, because seriously, every now and then I fall back into my old habits. And I'm like, oh, I need to launch something. So I'll make 10,000 things in a webinar and this and that. And then I'm like, that sounds like a pain in the butt. I do not want to do that. And then I'm like, well, work self. And I'm like, oh yeah, let's make another one-page funnel. How about that? Because like, seriously, the other great thing about the simplicity is if it's not working, there's basically only 2 things to check. Either your ads suck or there's something wrong with your page.
There you
And
go.
so you see which one's performing less well, you fix it. You don't have 10,000, oh, well, what happened with this email? What is my webinar provider? Like, maybe it's not, like, there's not a million things to try and diagnose, and there's not a million steps to lose people. That's the other thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so the speed and simplicity is obviously a huge piece of what, of course you're talking about, right? And a lot of people talk about with SamCart. Making those changes and things like that. Has there ever been a moment where you couldn't make those changes? I mean, obviously we keep it very simple, and the idea is to keep it simple, but of course people worry about, if I have to make changes, that's the mindset they come with, right? Has SamCart changed that for you? Is making those changes and making those tweaks and finding those little conversion bumps and stuff, has that been simple for you? Has that been something that's been a challenge, or has SamCart helped kind of like smooth that out?
No, it's super simple. And the nice thing is, if you're worried, like, will this change help or hurt? You can do a split test.
Yep.
So I just can't even express how fantastic it is. Like, I talked to you, I want to say about a year ago now, on the one-page funnel thing.
Probably. Yeah. Probably something like that.
Me typing, but somebody asked whether, my stuff was I was really excited. I think I had sold $3,000 at that point, and I was so over the moon about it. And somebody asked, well, you probably are hoping that actually this brings you clients on the back end. And I was like, well, so, like, unexpectedly to me, people had been writing as a result of my ads. Like, I was not trying to get clients. I did not want clients.
Right.
But people had been writing to me as a result of my ads and being like, hey, will you market my book for me? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's actually not what I want. And I remember typing, no, actually, I'm hoping that people will just buy my stuff and I can retire. A bunch of people make the little laughing emoji. I was like, I am dead serious. It sounds like a joke, but it's real. And that is what I've done.
I love it. Well, that's super exciting. So yeah, really the last question we have, of course, is people who are watching this video are people who are going to be thinking about checking out SamCart. They think about kind of upgrading their whole billing structure and things like that. Some people are going to be simplifying. They're coming down from the other side and they're using big complex stuff now. What would you say to someone who is thinking about, okay, look, my sales are here. Should I consider using SamCart? Is it going to help me out? Is it going to help me get to the finish line faster? Is it going to help me simplify? Those kind of things. But what would you say to someone who's in that mindset watching this video?
I would say it took me a week to build my little ebook and the order bump for it. And it took me, I want to say, like 3 days to set up the initial page, and then maybe another 3 days to revise it. And yeah, if you have any experience in this, I made a thing that has just made me $181,000 in less than 2 weeks. And it wasn't like hard labor driving 2 weeks. It was just like, I think I'll make a thing. I'll write some stuff. I'll put some thingies on a page. I'll make some ads. I'll see what happens. Oh, people are buying it. It was not like launch hell 2 weeks. It was like, casual 2 weeks.
It was like sipping tea outside, kind of 2 weeks. I like that.
Right. On your front porch, your sweet tea, in a rocking chair.
Love it. Awesome. Well, Cara, super exciting. Awesome. Congratulations on everything you've accomplished. That is huge hats off to you for everything you've done. Is there, if someone was interested in you and wanted to kind of find more out about you watching this video, where would you send them?
My main website is 17,000 days. So it's 17 and 3 zeros -days.com. So a lot of people like to downgrade me to 1,700 days, which I do not appreciate. But yeah, you got to get the 3 zeros in there.
Awesome. Very cool. Awesome. Well, Cara Stein, thank you so much. Again, congratulations. And we look forward to the introduction of our SamCart trophies that we're working on, so that we can finally fulfill your request and get one sent, and you can put it on a shelf there behind you or something. But
yay.
Yep. Awesome. Well, Cara, thank you so much. Really appreciate the time.
Sweet. Thank you.